Mormon missionaries, they're full of shit, but so polite, especially this time of the year. What is this? Mr. Krueger's Christmas. One of the missionaries must have left it here. I bet it was that little girl they had with them, the one I developed a yearningly paternal attachment to. Maybe she meant it as a Christmas present for me. Boy, is she barking up the wrong tree or what? I suppose I could watch it, see if I like it. Not that it would make any difference. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was founded by a con artist. Its holy book is largely plagiarized from the King James Bible. It has a history of racism, sexism, and homophobia, and those who leave the church are often ostracized and alienated from their families and communities, and nothing on this disc is going to change any of that. Still, I haven't actually watched this since I was a little kid. And Jimmy Stewart's in it. How bad could it be? I think I'll check it out. Mr. Krueger's Christmas is a TV special that originally aired on NBC in 1980. It was produced by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, directed by Academy Award winner Keith Merrill, and stars one of the greatest actors of all time, Jimmy Stewart. And is that ever a good thing for this show? Because it needs every drop of charm and likability septuagenarian Jimmy Stewart has left to give in order to heave it to its conclusion. The story is off-the-rack holiday treacle. Stewart stars as Willie Krueger, a widower who lives in a modest apartment in the basement of a building where he works as a custodian. It's Christmas Eve, and it's just him, his cat George, and his imagination, through which Willie escapes his loneliness by indulging in an increasingly depressing series of daydreams. Initially, Willie's fantasies have a Secret Life of Walter Mitty feel to them. After being ignored by everyone to whom he says Merry Christmas, he gazes through a shop window and imagines himself a wealthy man being fitted for a suit while people walking by stop to wish him Merry Christmas. Dozing off while listening to a record, he dreams of leading the Mormon Tabernacle Choir in a concert hall and outside in a winter wonderland, where at one point he tries to flee in a one-horse open sleigh, only to be chased down and surrounded by the members of the choir who, crazed with Yuletide cheer, demand that he finish conducting them. When he wakes up from his choir director dream, Willie hears a group of carolers on the street outside. He invites them to his place for some hot chocolate, and they take pity on him and accept. The cat is like, "Great! Strangers in my home! My favorite thing!" The carolers visit Willie and sing a song. With them is this escapee from the village of the damned, whom Willie, who has presumably been forgotten by his own children, imprints on immediately. After the carolers leave, Willie has his bleakest fantasy yet, imagining himself part of a big outdoor tree-trimming party that escalates into a full-on Christmas song and dance number centered around the creepy little blonde girl. Then, when the song is over, everyone walks away, leaving Willie all alone. Just like in real life! I'm certainly no expert, but when your feelings of isolation and despair start to intrude on your wishful daydreams, that's probably a really bad sign. But don't worry, this is a sappy Christmas special after all, so you know the ending is going to be heartwarming and reassuring, not empty and tragic like it would be if these events were occurring in our pitilessly shitty reality. Willie discovers the little girl has left her mittens behind, so he does what any one of us would do in that situation and hangs them on his Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Then he rearranges his nativity scene, which the little brat was also messing around with, and hallucinates himself back in time at the scene of the birth of Jesus. A very, very white Jesus with extremely white parents surrounded by the whitest crowd of admirers ever, which is probably just how it looked in the Middle East 2,000 years ago. And then something amazing happens. Jimmy Stewart works a Christmas miracle, because the scene he proceeds to have as he kneels before the baby Jesus is good, I think. Yes, it's overly reverent, shamelessly sentimental, and the dialogue Stewart is given is nothing special at all. But watch that scene and see what an actor of Stewart's skill and commitment can accomplish virtually all by himself. In the space of 3 minutes, he tells us everything we need to know about his character. Willie thanks Jesus for always being there for him, for helping him through after the death of his wife, for caring about him even when he didn't feel good about himself. We see Willie as a humble man, a man who takes comfort from his faith and who feels called by that faith to be a better person, to, as he says, treat others the way Jesus would want him to treat them. It's not a great scene, but it feels earnest and sincere in a way that little else in the show does. And while it doesn't make me believe that God exists, or even make me wish that God exists, it does make me wish that more people who do believe in God would choose to live out their faith in the kind, gentle, open-hearted way of Willie Krueger. Anyway, the little girl and her mother come back to collect her forgotten mittens, and they invite Willie to join them and the rest of the carolers to sing and to have Christmas dinner. And as they walk away together, a narrator, actually Gordon Jump, who played the station manager on WKRP in Cincinnati, and the bike shop owner who attempts to molest Arnold on Different Strokes, reminds us that love is what Christmas is all about. Aww! I told you there'd be a happy ending. Kinda Dickensian, right? Kinda Christmas carolish. Of course, Willie Krueger isn't a perfect stand-in for Scrooge, because Scrooge starts out as an asshole and then travels a redemption arc, whereas Willie is just a nice old man who finally gets somebody to pay attention to him. By the way, why is it so difficult for a sweet guy like Willie Krueger, who looks, acts, and sounds exactly like Jimmy Stewart, the platonic ideal of affable humanity, to get other people to give him the time of day? Are they wary of him because of all that unpleasant business that came out a few years back about his son Freddie? Because that doesn't seem fair. Oh, come on. Did any of you really expect me not to do that joke? You know, sometimes I wonder if you even know me. The praise I had for that one good scene aside, watching Mr. Krueger's Christmas is not the best way to spend your time during this most wonderful time of the year, even if schmaltzy holiday specials happen to be your thing. And I know this because schmaltzy holiday specials are my motherfucking jam. The story is predictable, it drags quite a bit, especially for something with such a brief running time, less than 30 minutes. The daydream sequences all hit the same beats over and over again. Krueger is poor, but he dreams of being rich. He's lonesome, but he dreams of being surrounded by friends and admirers. I get it. I got it the first time. And were it not for Jimmy Stewart pulling off the magic trick of conjuring a solid scene out of absolutely nothing, there'd be no reason to give this show a first look, much less a second one. Apart from the presence of Stewart, it plays like a below-average episode of a below-average religious anthology series, where the producers couldn't think of a social issue to address, so they said, let's just do one about how love is the true meaning of Christmas. Which is a fine message, but it's also a message I can get from 1,000 other places, many of which are far more artful and entertaining than this. All of which prompts the question, why did I watch Mr. Krueger's Christmas? I watched it because when strangers leave a DVD at my house, it happens more often than you'd think, I need to know where to put it. Do I put it in my collection with my other DVDs and Blu-rays? Do I put it in the trash? Or do I put it somewhere else? Now that I've watched it, I know just what to do with it. Something silly and sappy, just like the show itself. Merry Christmas to ya. Goodbye.